What's up, everyone? It's Kickster of Earth here. I wanted to make this video to highlight the mindset of a kicker and punter and what you can expect in your kicking and punting journey. So without further ado, let's just get right into the meat and potatoes. So I think this one is pretty cliche, but you do have to expect to be lonely sometimes. That's not to say you need to search the loneliness, but just know that you should embrace it and just allow it to become just standard on some days. I've met many guys in my time, whether they're on my team or another team, where they would always be to themselves and they would never associate themselves with other people, and it just wears you down. I as much as I would try to get them involved in like group activities or things that we're doing. Hey, let's go to Walmart and get Pop-Tarts, because the Walmart in the school that I went to was like the only thing to do. So you had no choice but to be there for 2 hours. But the thing that hurt me the most is seeing someone that didn't feel like they fit in with any groups. So whether it's you, which is completely okay, or someone else that I think it's very natural to just try to bring them into a group, or try to reach out to somebody that you feel like you would have a good friendship with and just hang out. There's no harm, no foul in that. But more specifically, like being a kicker or a punter is different. I don't know how else to say it. It's just very different. You've got no one to really talk to other than your other kicking and punting friends, and sometimes those guys aren't really that great of a person to be around. So the point is, like, whether it's your best friend who's a lineman, your coach, another guy from another sport, your teacher, it doesn't really matter. Like, I think it's so important to surround yourself with the right people early, because it's very easy to get down a negative spiral, a negative mindset where you're around the wrong people and always telling you like the worst thing, like, oh, I hate when that happens. Like, oh man, do you remember that one time when you almost made that field goal but you didn't? Oh, that sucked, didn't it? Like, not that happens a lot, but that kind of person or that mentality is just not going to help you in your journey on the right path. Rather, you want to be around someone that like supports you to better yourself and puts you in the weight room, and like wants you to go and keep going and keep working towards your goals and your desires, because those are the type of people that are going to make it in life ultimately. Because sports are great, but what's going to happen after sports is also something to consider, because it's not every day that you have everyone from the high school team make it into the pros. Only a very small percentage of people make it to the pros. So very early on, you want to set yourself up with the right people and just have the mindset of being around the right people, because again, this stuff can get really lonely, and I don't ever want to see anybody feel like they don't fit in to a group by secluding themselves on purpose. The second part of this is to expect there are going to be some people that aren't ideal. Like, they're just mean people. And even if they're not mean, they're just always cracking jokes, but in like the wrong way. I don't know. It just, to me, there's just some people that just I don't mess with. I don't mess with on purpose, because even if it's all in good fun and like, oh, we're just playing, you do it. It's like they do it so much that it just is so annoying. There were some people that I was a teammate with in the soccer team where every day they would have like 5 or 6 times a day where they would do something completely dumb, and they would just say, "Oh, I was just kidding, bro. I was just kidding." Dude, stop. Like, it's annoying. I don't like it. I have never laughed at your jokes. He has never laughed at your jokes, but you keep doing it. So the point being, just being aware of that, about who the people are. Like, they're always just going to be some baloney person just trying to be funny, and they're not really that funny. So what I'm trying to get at there is, imagine you're kicking a field goal for practice, or you're punting and you mess up a kick, and somebody somewhere, I'm sure that someone's going to say something like, "Oh, great kick, bro. Where'd you learn that? Kindergarten?" I don't know if that's a saying. I don't know if anyone's ever said that, but people are always going to try to say something to make fun of someone who just messed up at their task, at least at an early age, like, because a lot of the younger guys are pretty immature and they don't think a lot of things through is I guess what I'm trying to get there is they'll just say whatever without actually thinking that it could actually impact that person's mentality. If we're supposed to be teammates and you're making fun of the way that I'm trying to get better at my craft while you're sitting there drinking water, I don't know. I just feel like there's a disconnect, So that just happens sometimes. Like I'd be at practice trying to make some kicks from pretty good distance, and then someone would say something off on the sideline, even though they've never played a day in their life. I was always just like, come on, bro. Let's be on the same page here. I'm trying to get better. You're trying to get better too. Let's work this out. Like I don't know what to say to you, bro. Like I'm trying to improve myself. Like that's why I'm in practice kicking so that I don't miss in the game. Like I'm trying to miss all that I can right now so that whenever the game comes around, I get points for the team. So best you could say is like, good shit, bro. Keep working. That's kind of how I operate. And the same thing with punting. If you shank a punt in practice, then so be it. Like, just know that you're getting one step closer to getting better. Like, you're continuously on the path of improving. And that's what all of these shanks and misses are about. Like, you've got to learn from those moments so that you can tweak and perfect your craft so that you are getting to a place where that happens a lot less. And the very last thing that I'm going to say is this is a grind, guys. I mean, as a kicker or a punter, don't expect this stuff to be very easy for you to walk in and just say, oh, I'm just going to start kicking footballs now and I'm going to go to the pros. It is never that easy. I had spent over 7 years from the time that I started to the time that I was like confidently making kicks without much effort anymore, because I had gotten to a point where I was so efficient with my swing to where it didn't really limit me on my inefficiencies. So if I ever had like a bad kick, it would still make it because I had learned enough things along the way to make those bad kicks still make them. And that's what you see a lot of times with the pros too, is they're so efficient with their swings that even if they do mishit it, it's still going in because they're just that good. And that was the point that I got to finally after years and years and years of working at it. God bless that I wasn't a guy that struggled for too long at one thing. I would always try to get past that barrier quickly so that I could improve to the next thing. But again, this is a grind. And if you're going in there immediately thinking, oh, this is a cakewalk, like I've got this, no biggie, I mean, you're kind of setting yourself up for failure. It's good to have confidence, it is, but it's not to say that you shouldn't be expecting it to be a grind. It needs to be something that you expect isn't going to be achieved immediately. Like the mindset I always like to think of is, it's a tall mountain that I'm climbing, and I'm not just going to get there today. I'm going to have to get my shoes on, and I haven't even begun to put my shoes on. Like that's how much ahead of me I have, and I love the journey. I love it. You gotta love it. If you don't love it, man, you're gonna get halfway through and stop. So you gotta fall in love with this stuff. Like you gotta look at it as a chance to improve and get better at it, because that will help you go so much farther than just thinking, oh, I just want to be the best. Oh, I'm just going to make everything. All right, perfect. How are you going to get there? You got to mess up. You got to fail all these times. Like that's why Kobe and LeBron are so good, because they did all of that stuff years prior. Like they sucked for years, I'm sure, when they were starting out. And then they just kept working at it and working at it and working at it and working at it. And then sure enough, one day they played somebody who had a really talented skill set, and they just dominated because they knew that they put in more hours than them every single day. Like, it's a grind. I don't know what else to tell you. It's just, I'm going to drop the mic and get off my soapbox, but I just wish I could like grab my younger self and tell him that, and anybody else that like is serious about making it to the next level, whether you're elementary school going to middle school. I don't even know if they do 5th grade football. It's Pee-wee, but I think people are just trying to figure out how to put on their helmets in that age anyway. But from middle school to high school, or if you're trying to go from high school to college or college to the pros, you gotta know that this stuff is not easy. It is a grind. You've got to work out. You've got to do your stretches. You got to take care of yourself mentally. You got to film yourself. You got to work the little things like the drill work that all of you guys know you need to do, but you don't. That is what's going to make you successful. So get after it. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Check the resources below. Get the ebook. Sign it up if you haven't already. You get 72 hours of access early to that as compared to everyone else. You get 72 hours of early access. There it is. For that, if you haven't already. Again, all the links that are in the description below for all the things that would mean a lot to me if you check them out. And then if you haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe. That helps me out tremendously. And lastly, the thing I'm going to leave you with is leaders are readers. If you have not started reading or made it a daily practice, I would highly recommend you do that. And if you're a bit like me, I bet you are. Sometimes you get a little too busy in the day to really focus on reading. So that's why I recommend audiobooks. So I do have an Audible link that you get 30 days free access to. It's a free trial. You also get a free book or two out of it, if I'm not mistaken. You can also cancel at any time if you feel like you want to. But I feel like there's so much value included in that. I mean, it's really worth it to check out, especially since there's a lot of knowledge in every single book that you read. It's, again, years of experience condensed into one book. But thank you guys so much for watching. You guys have a good rest of your day. Catch you next time.